Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Mostly Programming. My name is Vivek Garg and this is the lesson 3rd of learning Python scripting from scratch. I hope you liked the previous 2 videos where we discussed about what Python is, how is it different from any other programming language. Also we installed Python 3.9 and we discussed about the various IDEs available in the market and installed PyCharm that we are going to use for this course. If you have any queries with the installation, you can ask me in the comment section below, or you can even DM me on my social media accounts. The link to those will be in the description below. So without any further ado, let's get into today's video. But before that, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do that right now and also press the bell icon. In today's video, we are going to cover 3 major concepts, which are the virtual environment tool in Python, the concept of indentation in Python, and how to write comments in Python. All these 3 concepts are very important in Python. So we are on my blog now. You will find all the documentation about each and every video on the blog itself. It is at @mostlyprogramming.blogspot.com. So in today's video, I'm going to answer the following 5 questions for you. What is meant by a virtual environment? Do we need to create a virtual environment for the basics? What is the concept of indentation? What possible errors could indentation cause if not done properly, and how to write comments in Python. So let's get into it. Basically, a virtual environment is a tool which is offered to us by Python. It is the most powerful and the most used tool in Python. The virtual environment tool helps the developer to keep all the settings, libraries, and packages required by different Python projects separate by creating isolated virtual environments. Now, you must be wondering, what do I mean by all these technical terms? Let me explain. Suppose we are working on 2 or 3 different Python projects. One of them uses Python 2.7, the second uses Python 3.1, and the third Python project uses Python 3.9, which is the latest version. So we are using 3 different versions of Python for 3 different projects in the same laptop. How is it possible to install 3 different Python in a single laptop and work efficiently with it? So for this purpose, there is a tool provided by Python itself, that is virtual environment tool, with the help of which we can create a virtual environment where the settings, the libraries, the packages used by a particular project can be stored. So the basic idea is to isolate different Python projects from one another in the same IDE itself. We need to create virtual environments for that purpose, and Python provides us with the tool named virtual environment. There is a lot more about virtual environments, but right now I'm not going to scare you off with how to create one. We will discuss obviously we are going to discuss the creation process, but when the time is right. Right now, for the basic Python course, we don't need to create a virtual environment. So let's move on to the next topic, which is the concept of indentation. So indentation basically refers to white spaces. In all other programming languages, the concept of indentation is used to increase the readability of the program. But here in Python, we use the indentation concept to define the scope of a particular block. Let it be a if statement or a for loop or a function. Indentation is used to define the scope of the block. You must remember using curly brackets in C or C++ or any other programming language to define the scope of a block. But here in Python, we use the concept of indentation, that is just white spaces. I'm going to definitely show you practically how to use indentation. So just watch this video. I'm going to show you in PyCharm how to use the concept of indentation while writing a Python script. So let us see now. Here I'm writing a basic if statement. Do not worry about the syntax of the if statement. Definitely I'm going to make a separate video about that. Here I'm just going to show you the indentation concept. So inside the body of the if statement, where the condition, we have to write the condition. So here I'm writing if 11 is greater than 2 and a colon, which is the syntax of if statement in Python. And when I pressed enter, you will observe that here is a space, right? Then the print statement is being written. I'm writing like 11 is greater than 2. inside double quotes obviously because it is a string. When I will run this, you will see that on the terminal here, on the run here, we will see that 11 is greater than 2 is printed. Right, it is working fine, the code is well intended, the indentation is proper. But what if I remove this indentation? What if I remove this space? Let's run it now. You will see an error here, and that error is the indentation error. Expected an indented block. That means the scope of the block is not defined here, because the print statement is written right behind the if statement, right below the if statement. So we must define or must leave a white space to define the scope of the block. The number of white spaces does not matter. You can even leave a single white space or 2 or 3 or 4 or 8. That is totally your choice. Although we recommend, or which is recommended officially, is the tab, that is a 4 space, but you can use any number of spaces that you want. Now suppose I want to write another statement here. See, I'll write another print statement here. Let us see then. But I'm not writing it right below the upper print statement. I'm writing it after some white spaces. Let's see what we're going to do here. We are going to get an error. Which error? Indentation error. And why is that error obtained here? Why do we get an error? Because the if block, the indentation of the if block where we wrote the first print statement was 4 spaces, but for the second print statement we took like 8 spaces. So the scope is not uniform. We need to keep a uniform scope for the block. We need to keep the uniform indentation for the block. Now I'm writing another if statement here where I have written if 1 is less than 2. Okay, so I have kept it a little bit of here and there. Then also you will get an indentation error, because neither another if block is at 0 space or at 4 spaces. It is somewhere in between. So it must be either inside another block or a new block itself. Now if I'm like writing a print statement inside the nested if, then it is going to work. There should be no error. Okay, so you must have guessed it, what's wrong here. I wrote inside the if statement 1 is greater than 2, right? Which is a false condition, which is never going to be true. That's why the print statement did not print on the screen. So now I made it 2 is greater than 1, then the print statement is working fine. I hope this is clear to you. So basically, indentation, we have to use uniform spaces to define a block. Whether it is the upper block or the nested block or whatever, we have to keep using a uniform white space for the indentation. Now the next concept is how to write comments. Comment is basically written to elaborate the program, to elaborate the code, to explain the documentation behind the code. So here we use hash symbol for writing comments. As I'm writing, this is a comment and some random text after the hash symbol, that all is considered as a comment. Now what if I want to write a multi-line comment? So I will simply write that in triple quotes. So everything in triple quotes is considered as a multi-line comment. So when I run this, no error is produced. The print statement is executed, which was the upper print statement. Why did the lower print statement did not execute? Because inside the if we have written that 1 is greater than 2, which can never be true. So that's why the print statement was not executed. There is no error as such. So I hope now you guys are clear with the concept of indentation and the concept of how to use comments in Python. But if you still have any doubts, feel free to ask me in the comment section below, or you can even DM me on my social media accounts, on my Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to. The link to all my social media will be in the description below. The link to my blog will be in the description below, so you can check it out. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends. Also subscribe to my channel because your subscriptions give me motivation to make more such videos. Also, if you did not understand the concept of indentation that well, don't worry, I will explain it again when we start writing the Python script. So, thank you very much for watching.